Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of Sour Graps. I'm your host, Alex Pulowski, and everything sucks, although not tonight. Kate's here. She's in Seattle. And also, Sean's here to do a news dump at the start of the show.
Taking a big dump.
Sean, dump your news.
I am in a city that actually has an NBA team within 3 hours of it, unlike some people.
The Trailblazers are pretty close to Seattle.
Actually. Are they? Is Portland that close to Seattle?
Within 3 hours, I would say.
Buddy, I'm going to see baseball at Safeco tomorrow, or T-Mobile, or whatever it's called.
Pretty cool. It's 2.5 hours. Yeah, you're right. They're closer, but it doesn't matter because nobody in Seattle likes the Trailblazers.
Oh, but, are you guys so excited to talk about basketball on our wrestling post show?
Well, listen, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, that's us.
If there's anything I'm concerned about, it's getting in and out in a timely manner on the show, obviously.
But just, you're going to get to go to Safeco Field, which is the home of the wrestling debut of the Miller Lite Catfight Girls.
A legendary moment for wrestling history.
A legendary moment in wrestling history. It really was. So, guys, FightfulSelect.com doing some quick news hits for you guys. Gonna plug the service. Through Monday, we have a great deal for you. Almost 2 months off. You can get a full year of Fightful Select for $51. And there are several stories that we broke over there on Fightful Select that are pertinent to this show, because there was a guy named Mustafa Ali who was probably supposed to be in a North American title match on this show and ended up getting fired. Now, Trick Williams is the North American champion, so that makes me wonder, was this adjusted? Was this the plan? I'm going to find out for sure.
Yeah,
but
please do.
We had reported on FightfulSelect.com, best $5 a month in the business, best $51 a year in the business, that NXT higher-ups were not happy about Mustafa Ali getting fired, and especially considering they had creative laid out for him until March of next year, which should show you how differently some things operate there. And I asked Shawn Michaels myself, like, hey, anybody else catch you off guard? I mean, obviously, you don't want anybody to get fired here or anything like that. By the way, guys, thumbs up, super chats, humper chats, pay these wonderful people. And Shawn Michaels outright told me Dana Brooke. We liked having her here. She provided a lot of experience for wrestlers in NXT. And I have reported extensively on this NXT method and having Baron Corbin and Dana Brooke and Mustafa Ali and Judgment Day and Becky Lynch there. But there are different reasons for different people. And Natalya, for the love of God. They bring these talent down there, and these talent are respected and veterans and know how to work TV. They can help these kids learn to work WWE TV. They can go to WWE and be like, yeah, this person's got it. Or they can be like, well, no, actually, they suck really bad. We don't want to do it. It is performance evaluation with somebody who is going to have a pretty good grasp of whether you've got it or not. Like, a Baron Corbin has worked with anybody and everybody and all styles of people in every facet. Natalya as well. So that's why a lot of those guys are there. Some people, like Mustafa Ali, were sent there because, one, obviously he didn't get along well with Vince McMahon, and he wanted out. And NXT provided him a situation and a creative outlet in which he could do very well in. I was hit up by somebody in NXT that said after that Shawn Michaels call, they're like, yeah, Shawn was being very diplomatic. He was not happy about this at all. More so him not getting a heads up, like not getting a warning or anything like that. But we had reported a story today on Fightful Select, and I think the proof is in the pudding for WWE on this one. Like, having Judgment Day especially and Becky Lynch on the show is directly tied to their media rights. That's what they're doing. They are beefing up their numbers, and they're showing not only themselves, but the world and potential broadcast partners, yeah, look what one or two other wrestlers can do. We can do that 800,000 viewers a week thing if we put Becky Lynch on this show. And not only has it worked from a viewership standpoint, It has certainly worked from a performance evaluation standpoint. It has certainly worked from a showing that Tiffany Stratton belongs standpoint. Like it's one of those things where I look at it and I go, okay, well, have I been a stickler in the past for the brand split? Yes, of course. But if you establish that NXT is kind of immune from that, well, then okay, that's all I need to know. And they have kind of established that it's immune from that. And I think that having those faces appear on Raw and SmackDown as well has been beneficial in a way that hasn't necessarily beaten you over the head with something negative in that manner. Like Tiffany Stratton rolling up to the pay-per-view where everybody is watching and saying, you know, Becky, I'm very, very sorry that I said I was a greater NXT champion than you because you've never been NXT champion. That was a good enough line to get people to go, who the fuck does she think she is? You know what I mean? Like
right.
one of those. So I think it's working out pretty well for them so far. I know WWE has been very happy with it. The higher ups that I have spoken to, I'm starting to see some of those little internal memo messages like I see for Raw and SmackDown. Like, you know, that curiously, like they know that I'm able to see some of these now. And there are some that are very pointed towards NXT. So some very positive things there surrounding NXT and potential media rights. And I know they want to get paid off of these. They're looking at AEW Dynamite and they're like, what? AEW Dynamite and Collision and Rampage are about to get a payday of their own. Well, we got our own 800,000 viewer show right here. Why don't y'all pay us a little bit extra for that? So it's looking positive, right? I mean, WWE's hot right now. There's no other way to put it. Their product is hot at all levels on TV.
Yeah. I think that bringing down those people from the main roster is a great way to get ratings, to boost your your cachet, see if you can get some money from it. We just hope that they don't, in a very cynical manner, immediately stop bringing them down once they've got the money.
Yes.
Because that feels like something they might do.
Plus,
it's something they absolutely did. Sorry, Kate, go ahead.
No, that's okay. But we have seen, I mean, we are here to complain about things at the end of the day. My goodness. So like we have seen it disrupt creative in a couple of ways. Like before Mustafa's release, there was a very clear story that got derailed by Judgment Day coming down. Tiffany Stratton's title reign, I think, got cut short by this Becky program. So even though there are things that have been wildly beneficial about it too, there are still certain vulnerabilities that I would like to see them address, or sounds like HBK might just not be getting the heads up on certain things that maybe he wants to. So you can't really make those adjustments within it. So it is overwhelmingly positive, but from the creative product standpoint, it has been disruptive. So I'm intrigued to see how they make that stick if they have more planning around it. I think that might be the case with Butch, with Pete Dunne here, right? It seems like that one was a little bit more calculated in ways. So I'm intrigued to see what that looks like with some more forethought behind it moving forward.
Also, we posted the early notes on FightfulSelect.com, but Jeremy spoke to the new champion, Ilya Dragunov, this week. And he is like, listen, I would be open to go into NXT Europe when it starts. That's home for me. But he seems to be enjoying his time there as well. He said it's been really good to perform outside of Florida with NXT as well. He liked working Boston for Battleground, all that. But check out that interview as well. We had a lot on the NXT front this past week. So FightfulSelect.com. This is a hell of a show, guys. Hope you guys have as much fun with the review as I did watching it. I'm sure you'll find something to hate.
Oh yeah, lots.
See you guys later.
It's what we do. Get that positivity out of here. Come on. No, there was a lot of really fun stuff on the show tonight, but there were, of course, things that we can gripe about.
Come on.
Man, it's
I
so
don't
funny.
want to be positive about things. Being positive is not my deal.
It's literally so gross. But I will say, I've said this a couple weeks in a row where I feel like the good is great and the bad is like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, it's so bad. I'm like, Like, what
Yes.
happened with Gallus today? So it is like,
Oh.
it just feels like two different shows are happening
Yeah.
within the same show.
It is.
My background television is on. I'm going to go kill that real fast. Give me 1 second.
Sounds good. Yeah, as it is always, it feels like WWE, well, and across the board now, just has so many fantastic wrestlers who can tell amazing stories and do amazing things in the ring. And then, whoopsie daisy, we booked you to have a terrible finish. Try and make that work, and they can't. So, like, it's just certain things you can't. When you let the wrestlers have a fantastic match all the way through without bullshit at the end, look how great the matches are. And then when you do inexplicable stuff at the end of the matches, you have people up and down my timeline going, that ruined an otherwise really good match.
Yes.
People aren't standing for your wonky, terrible finishes anymore. They're just like tuning out. Well, why did I watch that and love what I was watching if at the end, why are you reading a book, loving every second of it, but the last chapter is absolutely terrible and makes you regret having read the whole book? That is, if you keep doing that to your regular customers, they will stop watching. They don't care who you bring down from the main roster. That is my point and always has been.
I think that's a fair point. And because we had Shaunus Disruptus the second on here at the beginning of the show, I am going to do our usual. If you are just tuning in now, Sean recapped some of the scoops that we had on FightfulSelect.com. So head over to FightfulSelect.com and subscribe. We have annual billing now. So just $51 for the year, which gets you 2 months free through Monday. That little promotion is going on, so check that out. Also, we'll ask you to leave a thumbs up on this video if you would be so kind, and to subscribe here on the YouTube channel. But this is your NXT No Mercy post show. There's some good, there's some bad to get into, but I wanted to start it off and tell you to get your super chats and your humper chats in, because we have a rhythm, Alex, and sometimes Sean disrupts
we do
that.
We're also flying blind here. We don't have Luis. So
so only super chats tonight, not humper chats, right?
No humper chats, because I don't have access to
we don't have access to those. So
if you guys are sending in humper chats, they will not be read because I cannot access where they are sent to.
Correct.
So yeah,
they're just sent into outer space with killer clowns.
It's gone. So send in super chats, and then I will read them. Mark Losper, the Game of Thrones booking method. Yes.
Oh, that it's great up until the end?
Okay. There you go. That's the thing. And Van Twinbade says, me at the show, good for her. .gif. Yes, good for her, both of them, because they were great at the end.
Boy, were they.
They were great.
Some great
and then
tonight.
Bo Booth calling me on my inconsistencies, except for I can weasel my way out of this. Dom isn't the North American champion anymore. I thought you guys would be over the moon about it.
I am.
Here's what I've always said. It's not necessarily the destination. It is the journey. Yes, I'm so happy that Dominik Mysterio isn't the North American champion anymore. But I can't even be happy about it because I watched 2 ref bumps in the same match that already had a special guest referee in it. I just wanted to see one guy be better than Dominik and beat him with no frills, no ridiculous cartwheels being turned to get there. And I couldn't even get that. So yeah, great. He's not champion anymore. But if the plan was always to put it on somebody who wasn't Dominik in this match tonight, and it was almost Mustafa Ali until they released him right before the match, then I have a problem with that as well.
Sure, but I will say, I think I've just come to expect that with NXT, right? Anytime there's Judgment Day stuff, it's gonna, even if they're not, nor should you. But the tenacity is not there for me in the same way as it used to be, because I've just resigned myself to the fact that this is the case.
Right. So the show opened with I didn't watch the pre-show. I did not know they were doing Blair Davenport versus Kelani Jordan on the pre-show. Apparently, Blair Davenport won. which is the right call. Kelani Jordan showed out. They had, my feeling is this. They had Kelani Jordan get a showcase match against Blair Davenport on the pre-show of this pay-per-view of this play because she's winning the breakout tournament. She's in the breakout tournament, and of everybody I'm looking at there, I'm going, I don't know, Russian Katana Blade girl, Miss America contestants. I'm going to go with a woman who had a whole storyline going with Dana Brooke and then had a PLE pre-show match.
Correct, unless
probably
there's
the most likely.
Yeah, unless somebody gets taken out and someone gets put, you know what I mean? Like, unless there's, with what we're given, I think it's a slam dunk for Kelani, and she's been really good so far, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Because I do not have my super chats document, I gotta just read these as they come in. So Mark Losper says, I watched 5 minutes of this show. Camera guy made it seem like it was Tiffany Stratton's behind versus the spots happening off screen. Yeah, that is accurate. There was a lot of that. So we started out the main show with Bron Breakker versus Baron Corbin. This seemed to be a tailor-made thing of putting over the young guy. Baron Corbin's not there to get victories. Why would he be down there to get victories? That's kind of weird. He's not going for any titles. He's going to make the young guy look great in defeat, and then we're going to move on to maybe Von Wagner will come out and attack Bron Breakker afterwards. He'll have his head all wrapped up in some kind of weird helmet thing, and he'll headbutt him with the helmet. Now that's what he'll do. But surely you wouldn't have Baron Corbin win this match. But he did. Spoiler alert. Baron Corbin also rode a motorcycle to the ring.
Yeah, he did.
This is where I also think people who not only producing matches should talk to each other about not replicating spots, but also, hey, earlier my guy is going to ride a Harley Davidson down to the ring, just in case any of your guys were planning on riding little bicycles to the ring later. It might make them look extra silly, so maybe don't do that. I also was like, okay, if you see, he burned all of the ships, so now he has no modes of transportation. He's got to go to the Harley store and buy a Harley.
I was gonna say. So the motorcycle was intense.
Yeah.
Not to get caught up on the ridiculous. Oh wait, no, we're on Sour Grabs. To get caught up on the ridiculous, we got to find Braun a new gear designer.
Yeah.
Why was there a gremlin on his crotch? And why did his tights just say badass?
The wolf. Remember, he was wearing a big bad wolf costume, like he was in a 6th grade production of Little Red Riding Hood, and then he came out wearing that, and the same wolf face from his 6th grade production of Little Red Riding Hood costume was on his very lower belly, like leading, like the teeth were just north of crotch.
They were.
Yeah, and so I don't know.
If you had been using Blue Chew, it would look like they were eating things. It was bad.
He on his right in the front of his right hip, it said dog, and on the back it said badass. So like if you looked at a badass dog, which was the thing that he was trying to say, it was it was good.
And like his other ones were meaner than evil. I'm like, we gotta just do some like a consistent look, my fella.
I really like, but he can't do it because he was a babyface then. But I loved all the tributes to classic Steiner Brothers gear.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Those were great. You know, I don't know, but
he needs black lipstick.
Yeah, he does to signify his true heel turn. Yeah. This was really good. These guys beat the crap out of each other. There was a really good, hard hitting match. Everybody just throwing bombs at each other the whole way through. And then, inexplicably, a non-wrestler ran out in 2 pieces of a 3-piece suit and did a dive, a crossbody off the top with a bunch of security there out of the blue to stop him from doing it. But he did it anyway, even though he weighs 125 pounds. And because he weighs 125 pounds, i.e. the size of Darby Allin, Bron Breakker, no problem just grabbing him, herking him up, and throwing him out of the ring. And then turning around and immediately walking into an end of days, which is protected against Baron Corbin, but not against Drew McIntyre when there's no reason for it to be protected.
Correct.
Like, yeah, okay.
There was a really nice deep 6 in this. That was like,
it was great.
It was like a deep 10.
Yep.
The non-broken table spot made me cringe, and then they broke it later, so that was good. Just little stuff like forearms getting laid in really hard on this. Like Braun looked really, really strong. The booking at the end made no sense on this one. Like it was.
So yeah, Robert Stone shows up to get revenge on what happened to Von Wagner by leaping at him doing a crossbody. And the problem is that I am incredulous about the fact that this is how he wanted to get revenge, except for the fact that it worked.
Yeah,
it worked. It cost Braun the match, which makes Braun look stupid.
Yes,
and like if you want to continue this Von Wagner versus Braun Breaker thing, Braun can't go up to the main roster until he puts over Von, so Von can be the big monster baby face that we all love and root for. But even if you're going to do that, which I don't agree with, wouldn't it be better if Braun was coming off of a dominant victory over Baron Corbin than off of a loss because he looked stupid, because he was distracted by your little manager who's not a wrestler who did a crossbody to him? None of this makes any sense to me, the way they book this. I just don't. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, this was real dumb. Robert Stone being the one to come in.
Mm-hmm.
The only way out of this is that he's not managing Von Wagner and that he came in to help Baron Corbin, and that's not what they're doing.
No, that's not at all what happened.
So, yeah, no, the booking in this was bad, but otherwise the match was great. Like it's such a bummer when that does this. Yeah,
this is what happens when you. Yes.
Yeah, it was what it was. Alex was it was badass, and then it wasn't.
Badass dog.
It's badass.
Bo Booth asking the hard hitting questions. Is it boats or motorcycles? Pick a lane, Baron.
Well, he burned the boats,
right?
So he needed a bike.
I thought he was gonna build other boats.
Oh man, I mean, I guess that takes a while, though, right?
I guess that's true. You just go.
Maybe he burned the boats because he was like, I got this whole other mode of transportation that I don't even need water for.
Yeah. For a guy that everyone has earmarked as the future of WWE, Braun has spent a whole bunch of time and nothing happening feuds on their C show. Man, it looked like that guy was absolutely. I still believe he should be a can't miss future WrestleMania multi-time main eventer. But oh boy, did they fill up most of his reign with a bunch of terrible feuds. And since he lost the title, it feels like he's just messing around with people way beneath him.
So yes, but also I think that's the point in a weird way of, I think they wanted to test out, like, what does this guy bring to the world as a heel? And so I think having him not as prominently featured is a way for him to, I don't agree with it, but I think this is what they think. A way to kind of test that out a little bit.
Yeah. Now, Marco's saying every metal match sucked. You just weren't watching them. He had great matches. He had
great matches with weird
really
stories.
Good matches.
The Tyler Bate one was fantastic.
Bad stories, but he had some great matches. Yeah.
Apollo, Dolph Ziggler. There's some really good stuff in that reign.
Yeah. No, he had some bad stories. And the matches around those bad stories sometimes were not good. His Joe Gacy matches, somehow plural, were not good, but the stories were so bad. No, he's had really good matches. I don't know what they're just not. The problem is we don't remember them as being good because they didn't really go anywhere or build on anything or make anything better. That's the problem. Yeah, I don't have my
Trick versus Dom.
Well, that was the second one. Okay, for some reason I have my in mind is the third. So, okay. Dominik comes out by himself. He didn't, I guess Damian and Finn and JD weren't available. They couldn't make the connecting flight to Bakersfield, I guess.
It happens.
So he comes out, he's by himself, and Dragon Lee is the special guest referee. We've already seen, as of yesterday on SmackDown, Dragon Lee is now a SmackDown superstar. You cannot convince me otherwise. He's got a match versus Austin Theory next week. He's going to beat Austin Theory and immediately be added as the third guy in the 6-man tag for Fastlane. He's going to join the LWO as of tomorrow. I mean, as of next Friday, he'll be a member of the LWO.
Sure.
So this is his swan song in NXT was taking a ref bump. He didn't have any real agency as the special guest referee. There was literally nothing that he did as a special guest referee that warranted him be. There was special guesty. You could have had one referee when that guy took a ref bump. You bring in a second referee and that guy takes a ref bump. So you go pull out the first referee back in the ring and he counts the pinfall. Nothing he did was necessary for him to be there. Like, This is why I hate ridiculous crap being added into matches for no reason. You can even say there was a reason for him to be pissed at Dominik, so he's a special guest referee. Okay, fine. But if there's a reason for him to be pissed at Dominik and he's a special guest referee, you got to build the match around him trying to take advantage and screw over Dom. Okay? Like there's got to be something. And he never did a fast count.
Well, no, and it's because this is the third one that we've gotten in as many months. Like, it's so ridiculous that we were even at this point. Dom is so slow. He's so slow.
He really is.
Like, that 619, man, just stop doing it. It's not good. But Trick has looked great. He's continued to improve rapidly.
Yes.
Very happy about the outcome of this match. Agree with you that the way that we got to this outcome was not great.
I'm never a fan of a ref bump. Dragon Lee made the ref bump look great because he sold that super kick.
Because he's a wrestler.
Super kick, great, because he's a wrestler.
Yeah.
The second referee was, I swear to God, sitting on a chair right outside the ring. There's they never get there that fast, the second referee. So he was right there immediately to count the next thing. But then he's in there for a while. And Dominik is going to run the ropes and runs into the referee, who collapses dead. He was bumped into by a very slow-moving person and fell down dead. 1 ref bump is bad enough. 2 is egregious and unforgivable. I am so happy that Dominik was an idiot and ran into a knee with his championship belt, which then bounced off the knee and back into the head. I'm so happy that he got pinned. Trick Williams, like, where's the referee? Where's the referee? Where's the referee? There's the referee, and he goes and gets the referee. That was not great. That did not look good. The ending of this match was so horribly overbooked that I can't even take the joy I wanted to take in Dominik losing because the end of the match was put together so poorly. But it's great that Dominik's not the champ anymore, and I'm intrigued to see what they do with Trick. Spoiler alert, Melo's gonna turn heel on Trick. But it's like, but I'm interested to see what they do with not Dominik as champion.
I am too. I'm very intrigued about, well, 1, I wonder what this was supposed to be with Mustafa. And 2, I'll be honest, like, I just wasn't paying like that close of attention with Dominik. Like, he's just so slow moving, and I knew what this match was going to be. The double ref bump is egregious. Right. Very happy about the outcome, both for Trick and for not having Dom here. I don't know what that does to the Judgment Day. I guess maybe they're going to start their dissension further. Maybe JD McDonough comes in and wins it next. I don't know. But this did add intrigue into what was the match of the night, which was Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes. Because then I started to be like, oh, what if Carmelo does lose? I still didn't think it was happening.
Well, yes, if Carmelo does lose, I sure hope they don't turn him heel on the way out of NXT just for the hell of it to get one match with Trick. And then it looks what they're doing. So I don't know. It's just it feels like they had actually done the work to finally make him a good guy. Finally, they very rarely with a face turn do the work to make them feel like, wait a minute, the things I did when I was a heel were pretty bad.
No, only Kevin.
I should probably figure out how to be a better person now that I'm a good guy. And they did that work with Carmelo. And to have him lose his title and immediately go back to, now I must take the title from my friend. I really hope they don't do that. I just really hope they don't. That's all.
Yeah, and there was intrigue in the idea of both of them having separate titles. Like that could have been an interesting story, but I don't hate it. It's not that bad. I think it's interesting to have a cross-title story here. Like that's just an inherently cool thing to do. The match was what it was. It was a means to an end. I liked the end. I did not really care that much about the means. Good for Trick. I will say it was very cool to see all of the entrances tonight feel like pay-per-view entrances. We haven't gotten that in a while in NXT. Yeah. Like Mel's was awesome. But yeah, this was what it was. The first two matches, it was like great match, bad ending. This was like mediocre at best match, great result, and that it's not on Dom anymore. So they were kind of inverses of each other.
Yeah. So Dragon Lee takes 47 super kicks normally. That's fine. One from Dominik, RIP. And somebody said in the chat that as soon as he puts on the ref stripes, his HP goes down to 1. Like
that makes sense.
That you have no defense.
That's
Robert Lyle asks, why does a super kick knock you out for 10 minutes when you're a ref, but only gets a 2 count when you're a wrestler? That is a very good here. I will say what happened to me here. I had to run into the kitchen to grab something for my daughter. And while I was in there doing what I was doing,
you committed.
I know. I came back and I saw a guy in a ref shirt holding his face huddled up, but the face didn't have the mask on it. And my immediate thought was not, they did a ref bump to Dragon Lee, then brought in another referee, and that guy took a ref bump. What I thought happened was that Dominik Mysterio got pissed at a slow count and ripped the Dragon Lee mask off of him. And I was like, I gotta rewind and see what the hell happened. And what the hell happened was somehow weirder than the thing I fantasy booked as being bad in my own head.
Yeah, no. It was way worse.
Yeah.
And that's just what we do here on NXT. There was nothing.
We haven't learned the babyface guest ref sucks. They always do.
They always do.
Make a choice. Figure out who you want to win the match, and then ref accordingly. I don't care if you're babyface or a heel. Come on. Take a stand.
Like I said before, there was nothing very special guesty about this. But if you were in a match and I was a special guest referee, I would be your special bestie.
Yeah. Special bestie referee. That's good.
Special bestery.
Also, I skipped over this. It was really good. That the NXT No Mercy thing, going back to the old N64 video game.
Oh yeah,
that was really excellent. Will Chisholm saying, "I'm not going to lie, my 33-year-old ass loved that No Mercy video game opening. My daughter looked at me and said, "You're too old for that."
Well, as you know, Alex, I am a video game.
Yes, you are.
Sommelier of sorts.
Yes.
By that I mean I watched Alex play Red Dead Redemption 2. I got extremely invested, and then I paid attention to never a single video game.
Nothing ever again. That totally makes sense.
Micah.
Yeah.
To this day, Alex.
To this day. Giant
Micah Bell.
All right. So the first two matches, inexplicable booking finishes. Thank God the right guy won the second one. The wrong guy won the first one with a ridiculous finish. Ridiculous finish the second one, but thank God the right guy won. Now, oh hooray! Now we have a great, a really fun 4-way tag match, which only 2 guys were supposed to be legal, but Rick Knox must have been the referee because everyone was in that match at the same time for most of it.
Just call it a tornado tag, people.
It just make it a tornado tag, or do the thing where there's 4 teams and 1 guy is legal from each team.
Yeah,
that is the I am convinced the only way to properly do one of these things. It makes it so much easier. That way you're not doing like tag ins and outs of other people who aren't yours. Every time you get close to a neutral corner, they tag themselves in. No, if you can only tag in your partner, you are screwed. rude. So you better make sure you can find a way to get back to your partner. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with that. But they didn't. But they did this. And sort of to get around the whole thing of only 2 guys in the ring, they just said 4 minutes into the match, let's have all the guys in the ring. And it was fun, but it also wasn't according to the rules they set out for it. And a couple of weeks ago, in an AEW, an ROH tag team title match, MJF did the thing where he took he got injured, and they helped him to the back. He was gone for a long time, and then he fought his way out past the doctors, past security, past officials. He punched one, and then he got down to the rings. I am not leaving my tag team partner alone out there. And I loved it when he did it because he was doing it as a parody. And I said at the time, man, I really hate it when they do it in earnest, when they think they're doing something, when they think they're really doing something with the storytelling, when they do that. And they did it here with my favorite guy. And listen, he did a great job of it, but he was doing it in earnest because they told him to make it serious. And I was just watching like this the whole time he was gone, going, he's going to come back. Oh, look, there he is. Look, he headbutted Oni Lorcan. Oh, he's in. Oh, to make it look good, they cut off part of his pant leg. And when they did that, when he came back, I was like, well, now I know those guys are retaining. Right. And I hate that, like, just have them wrestle the match. There was no reason to book that weird storyline where it wasn't like Stax was in the ring for the rest of the time, getting beat down for the rest of it because Tony wasn't there, like they were doing with Adam Cole and MJF. I've never liked that booking, especially when you have a guy like Tony D'Angelo, who we've seen have an actual knee injury. And so now you're trying to get us to have your concern trolling. Like,
So I guess I'm a fucking mark because I bid at it initially. He sold it.
He sold it so well because he's such a great actor.
And the camera didn't do the thing where they followed him for the entire time. Like, I'm so used to NXT and WWE being like, oh my God, let's see that again. Let's have the camera follow him all the way to the back. When they didn't do that this time, I was like, oh, fuck, I hope he's okay. And then when he came back out with the knee brace, I was like, all right. But to your point, I also was almost buying into it because I was doing wrestling math. And I was like, okay, if this was a work, they would build the story around Stax now. Like, it would be all about like him having to overcome the odds, where most of it turned into like, let's watch the Creeds do fun shit, which I'm always down for.
I'm always here for.
Always down for. The Cannonball looked really good tonight. I haven't seen it in a bit, so it was nice to see it back because they laid off it for a little bit. Julius Creed is just a phenom. I don't know. Like, I don't know how many times we can come on the show and say the Creed brothers should be called up. Julius Creed is a phenom. But it was really fun to watch. And and then you knew what was going to happen. So I don't love the booking either, but like, I bit at it a little bit until he came out with his knee brace. And I was also thinking about things of like, well, they let Indy Hartwell come back when she shouldn't have, clearly. Like, there were a couple of things in this that like made me wonder if it was real, but Tony D's selling of it. I'm so sick of you wrestlers being good at this. Okay. Kevin Owens, so good at it. Ricky Starks, so good at it. Stopping Bryan Danielson with a concussion spot. I'm so glad they banned it.
But Bryan Danielson does it because it pops him. He does it because he loves that we feel bad. He's a sadist.
Well, I'll tell you what. I didn't do what I thought I was going to do, which was mute this when we got Nigel and Zach on commentary on Collision. But I did see a clip where Nigel McGuinness called the crowd xenophobic for standing up for Bryan Danielson and being only Americans. And Zack Sabre Jr. saying he was outraged. So that's what all you need to know about that clam digger, that Dragon Bullocks Danielson.
The reason I didn't buy it, referee wasn't a good enough actor to pull it off.
Fair enough.
And Stax wasn't. Tony D was great. Yeah. Tony D was great, did everything right, totally sold it in the exact way possible. Stax, if it's a fake thing, you do what Stax does, which is Oh, I'm looking at my friend. I'm looking at my friend for 3, 2, 1, back to the match. Like if it wasn't real, like he would have tried to. If it was real, he would have
tried to like get it together.
Okay,
Yeah,
he'd have in his head trying to figure out what's the spots that I would have to do if he's not here. Like it was. Listen, it's fine. You shouldn't put your wrestlers in the position where they've got to be Oscar-winning actors to pull off stuff. Just do the match. Just do the match. Did they think that they couldn't do it with 8 guys, but they could do it with 7? It's a weird. I don't know. I don't love.
I think they all should be Oscar winners.
Out the mud. Is it? It must be a cultural thing I'm not aware of. But the trikes that don't have pedals that they walk with their feet.
Yes.
I don't know what that was.
I don't either. But, they look good tonight, though.
They look fine.
Better.
They look fine, but they also look like they are okay. So we got Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, who were Los Lotharios, who've been around the block forever. The Creeds, who are otherworldly and like way too good for this place. I can't believe they're phenoms. They've only been doing this for like a couple of years, but they're amazing. You got Tony D and Stax, who are an established duo, fine, and then way beneath them, you got this 4th team, who you can tell has potential, but is in the ring at this start of thing way too early for that. So
I was drunk enough that they also.
So there you go. I should start getting nice and drunk.
There you go. That's it.
Mark Losper says, I love that Rick Knox is the universal standard across wrestling for completely nonsensical. Anything goes. Awful referee. It's true, though. He's the one referee with that kind of reputation. You know?
He's the Angel Hernandez. If you're a baseball fan, you know that Angel Hernandez is like that umpire. He's that referee.
Right. Will Chisholm says, the reason I believe the knee spot is because Tony has knee problems on that same knee. Right, which is why they're really extra naughty for trying to throw that. They're stinkers. Stop being stinkers. Just show me what's going on. That is a weird thing. But I'm glad. Listen, I'm glad that Tony D and Stax retained. This is their first defense since they won it. It'd be kind of terrible if they took it off them immediately.
This is their first defense. They won them a while ago.
This is their first,
but I was like,
this is their first defense. They've had matches as a tag team since winning them, but they weren't defending the titles in those matches. Listen, just have them defend the titles every time they wrestle.
Yes, please.
Especially if you're going to book them to win anyway, it doesn't matter. They're going to retain the titles. So that the tag match was excellent for what it was. There was a lot of fun stuff in it, and the right guys won good, but totally unnecessary, ridiculous. I'm injured. No, I'm not spot that I don't like. So we're so far we are 3 for 3 on ridiculous backstage booking that doesn't need to be a part of it.
Yeah, this was less egregious than the first two.
It was, but it was one of those things of like all they had to do was just to not do that.
Yeah.
And it would have been a really almost perfect sprint between 4 tag teams. Are we all ready to Carmelo and Ilya? Was there only 5 matches on the main card? I think there was.
Are
6? We? What's the next one? What happened after this? See, I don't have Luis, so I don't have my document. I didn't make notes.
No, and my notes are a mess. Let me pull up the card.
Heritage Cup.
Now I was
right,
I knew there was something goofy.
I know there was something terrible before we got to the great thing.
Yes.
Heritage Cup. So weeks ago, Kate, they set up a tournament. A round robin, the NXT run.
The NXT one,
to crown a number 1 contender for the Heritage Cup, to give Noam Darr a chance to recover, like do a little stuff, get ready. He doesn't have to defend his title for 5 weeks. He can sit up there in his little office with all of his friends and play dress up. It's fun. We all love it. they book out this tournament. Okay, there's two sides. There's Group A and Group B. In Group A is Tyler Bate. In Group B is Nathan Frazier. There's zero chance they don't meet in the finals because you've only had Nathan Frazier and Tyler Bate circling the Heritage Cup and each other for the Heritage Cup
for weeks, if not months.
Weeks and weeks and weeks, if not months, at the time they started the tournament.
Correct.
They do the whole tournament. It comes down to Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate. Winner wins Group A, and Pete Dunne wins. I'm like, well, I love Pete Dunne. Well,
but that betrays the story you were telling.
That change that just completely belies the story you've been telling. That's kind of weird. Oh, it comes down to a three-way tie in Group B between Joe Coffey and Nathan Frazier, the obvious winner of the whole thing, and Duke Hudson. And Nathan Frazier is obviously going to win that three-way, but no, he doesn't. Joe Coffey does. So you have Joe Coffey versus Pete Dunne in the final, which belies the entire story you're doing.
No reason.
And then Pete Dunne wins that. And Pete Dunne is not an NXT guy. He's on the main roster now. And yes. Yeah,
I just love that that's the reaction.
That is the reaction.
Oh, no.
That is the reaction. And he goes, Pete Dunne is in the final against Noam Darr. And you know the match is going to be great. Of course it's going to be great. These two guys are amazing. The Heritage Cup rules dictate that it's going to be a really fun, well-paced, put-together match. It's going to be great. But obviously Pete Dunne has to win, right? You wouldn't run the entire tournament and have a guy who's not even in NXT win it if you weren't going to have him win the tournament and then have another run in NXT for a while. Now it looks like, because he's got a match scheduled for Tuesday, maybe he has the run in NXT for a while anyway. But spoiler alert, he doesn't win the match tonight versus Noam Darr and doesn't win the title in the most overbooked, trite way possible.
Of all the things on the card, like we talked about those first three matches, this is the thing that made me the most annoyed.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing that I like the most on the program.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love having the Heritage Cup around.
Yep.
If you follow the show, you know that I'm a square. I love rules. I love my pure matches. I have my NJPW TV title. I like rules. And I like time limits. Because I'm a very cool person.
You're a nerd.
Because I'm a freaking square, man. They made so many wrong moves to get to this point, but I was like, all right, Kate, buckle up, because the match is going to be great. And of course they were. But I was like, you're not going to screw it up further after you made no sense of the whole story from before. And they were like, Kate, hold my beer. Right. You're not only are you not invited into the Meta 4 to make it the Meta 5, heartbroken already, but they have Tyler Bate in the corner of Pete Dunne, which I really like. Because they even the numbers at some point. He used Lash Legend as a way to launch himself onto Ora Mensa in this, which was ridiculous. But then they have Gallus interfere to cost them at the last minute. After building out this incredible story, there's one point where Noam Darr falls asleep and they're not really sure what to do with the finish of one of the rounds. The in-ring was just incredible. Noam Darr is so damn silly. And then when you get to see him in the ring, it's such a treat. Everything you want out of a Tekker versus Darr match. This is exactly what you want. So beautifully built out. And then of all the ways to screw up the ending, they picked the screwiest up. So not only did you screw up the booking to get here, and not only did you have the wrong winner, you did it in a way that makes no sense and is just the worst. It's kind of like is it I Love You Man, where he's venti means 20, tall means whatever. And he's like, congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages. That's what this was. Congratulations, you're stupid on getting us there. You're stupid in who you put over, and you're really dumb for the way that you did it. Now, if you want to give me a Gallus versus Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne feud, I have an interest in that.
They have a match on Tuesday. I don't know if that's going to become a feud.
Yeah, I'm not interested in this route to it at all.
No, that's a roundabout way of getting there.
Yeah, what is this? So it would have made so much sense. Like if Pete Dunne was coming back to NXT to do this because it feels so much in his style, and also you want to do overbooking and dumbass Dominik Mysterio matches, fine. Right. Get it the hell out of the program that has rules, because you're supposed to be playing with those rules as a part of your storytelling, not bringing this thing in way the fuck from left field. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to be playing with the timed rounds and all of these things. Like it would be like if in ROH you had a pure match and then instead of like one closed fist to the mouth, you were like 6 people showed up to punch this guy in the face. Like it just, why are you setting out a stipulation if the whole story is going to have nothing to do with that stipulation? Makes no sense to me.
Yeah. The British Strong Style versus Gallus is going to be really good. I don't know why we're getting to
what the fuck is this comment?
No, like the rules. Like you have to follow the rules. You gotta come on, be a rebel. Rules. Be a rebel, Kate. Think for yourself.
No.
Don't follow the rules. The rules are boring.
Rules.
I will say, I think
rules. You
here's okay.
If you don't, you'll get eaten in your sleep.
First things first. British Strong Style versus Gallus is great. If we're getting British Strong Style back together, that's amazing. So, but you didn't have to do all of this to get to that.
No.
In no way did you have to do all of this to get to that. You just didn't. And you know what this was? This entire tournament? You know what it was? Content. It was just content. It all built to, if it doesn't even build to like, well, Pete Dunne got screwed over and now he gets a longer feud with Noam Darr and then eventually wins it. No, if it just builds to him and Tyler Bate versus Gallus and Noam Darr flits off to do something else with somebody else, then this was just 5 weeks of content for Level Up. That's all it was. Like, it's weird. You know
what it is, Alex?
What?
Bullocks.
It is Bullocks.
Thank you.
It's Bullocks. And then I will say this. The rules thing, Noam Dar's favorite back elbow after the bell goes.
Yes.
And the referee going like, hey, now that's not okay. A disqualification is an immediate loss.
Yeah.
You got to make that thing happen. Maybe it's not Noam Darr because you don't want to lose the title that way, but in a match that is like for the number 1 contendership, somebody is disqualified and they lose. You know, that's it. Like, you know what we need? You know what this brand needs? I don't know, a GM figure. Somebody British, maybe. No nonsense.
Did you notice who was in the signature at the beginning of the show today? Or it was in a video package, I think.
I did not.
I think his non-compete of being off TV might be coming up.
That would be good.
That'd be very good.
That'd be very good.
Because I can't handle Adam Pearce just being stressed out on a third brand.
Right. Yeah. It would be great to have somebody like that who would say to Noam Darr before the match tonight, I've been watching you, young man, and I've seen that you like throwing punches after the bell. I've instructed the referee. If he sees you do that, you're immediately disqualified for the title. Like, have somebody lay down the law. Like, we see it. We see he's got a pattern doing it. The refs should know he's got a pattern doing it and be watching for it. If he sneaks in while the ref's got his back turned, fine. But the referee's watching him do it. And they played it back. And it wasn't like ding, elbow. Immediately. It was like ding, and then the bell had time to like rise and fall tonally. Like it was back to absolute silence before he threw the elbow. That's too much shenanigans for me.
So I like what your version of William Regal said. I would like it better if there was some sort of sexualized pastry attached to it, though.
All right. Enough of that. You. Backstage, there was a segment.
This review is going alarmingly fast. It's making me itch.
It was. This is what usually, what we talk about for the longest amount of time on Tuesdays?
Puns?
The ridiculous backstage crap.
That's a really good point.
We don't talk about the matches for that long because usually the match was
assumed
good.
you were gonna be
The
like
booking was
puns and
stuck.
stuff.
Somebody can be like the pun also too. But like the only backstage thing that really mattered was at the very end of the show and this thing, which is when Joe Gacy says to Ava, "The schism is dead. This was a bad family for you to join. Go, make your way. Find someone else to be with. I must recalibrate who I am," or whatever he says. So Joe Gacy just like, and DNC just said Joe Gacy feels like he can talk to Ava like that because he knows her father doesn't involved in family business.
What has Fast and Furious taught us?
I don't know. But yeah.
What else do you know?
He is a crumpet.
Noam Darr is absolutely a crumpet. He's such a crumpet.
I'm very happy that Schism is dead because the angle didn't work ever. But I want Joe Gacy to find something that's good for him because I think he is a solid professional wrestler.
I agree.
In the ring, outside the ring, I just don't think this gimmick was ever going to work. And it ended up just falling apart eventually. Yeah. This was a bad family for you to join.
She also has work to do in the ring, so
right. Yes,
she can go and do that.
Join a family of people who aren't on TV. So there are 2 matches left, and it's Becky Lynch. So you knew Becky Lynch was going to be in the main event, but I thought it was once they said, "Oh no, we're doing Melo versus Dragunov second to last for the NXT title," and I was watching it, and I was maybe what ended up being a third of the way through it, and I was like, Jade Cargill's coming out at the end of tonight's show, right? Because there's no way these women can follow this in like a plunder match. Not like end of the feud. They've been feuding for months. They're both amazing technical wizards. And they're telling an amazing story. But I'm going to hit you in the head with a trash can. There's no way that can follow this. And that was a third of the way through Dragunov and Melo, as I thought they were doing Jade Cargill at the end. There's no other reason to do that last. And I was watching the rest of this Dragunov and Melo thing, thinking to myself, Melo is going to retain. Because if Dragunov was going to win, you definitely have that go last. That's a title change. That's the title in NXT changing hands. You have to have that go last, unless it's Jade Cargill's debut, I guess. And I was doing that whole thing. And I hate that that's how my brain analyzes crap in the moment, because I just need to go back and watch all 45. How long was this match? It didn't feel like it dragged, but it must have been a very long match.
It got some time, yeah.
It was great. Dragunov and Melo are so good together.
Boy, are they.
Those guys are a main event feud on the main roster in a couple of years. They're both still under 30. This is where whenever I talk about, everybody's got an amount of time ahead of them in the ring. And, we hope and pray for people like Big E to come back, but we never thought at the time he was becoming a WWE champion that he might only have a few months left and we might never see him wrestle after that. Everyone's only got amount of time left for whatever reason, whether it's injury or whatever, and they're gone. These guys are going to be 30. By the time they're each 30, they should be main eventers at the top, building brand new stars who, God willing, are going to be around for 10 to 15 to 20 years after that, as opposed to John Cena's back, better put all our plans on hold and just have John Cena stand there for a while. We need to be building brand new stars that can work and go and captivate an audience, and these 2 guys are
Or even look at LA Knight. It took them
LA Knight took him so long to get there.
But I do think there's Austin Theory is not working, but he's younger and they made an effort. Grayson Waller, I think, is working and he's younger and they made an effort. So I think they are starting to kind of play into that a little bit. But this match, to your point, the women had to main event because you can't have Becky Lynch there and have her not main event. That feels so weird. But I agree with you from the match caliber perspective. Like, there's just nothing that was going to be done to top this.
If you told me it was 10 minutes longer than that, I would believe it.
You. Yeah.
That is on the absolute low side of what I thought, because they did so much telling the story of their previous match. There were so many, like there were chapters that started with this move and ended with that near fall. And then they started a whole new movement. Here's the guy Dragunov coming out there conducting a symphony. That dude was conducting a symphony in the ring in this match. Everything had new movements. It was like if you were listening to a beautiful piece of music, the time signature changed. All of a sudden, their rhythm was different.
Yes,
and the way they
pacing
moved,
in this was incredible.
This was an incredible match between two incredible professional wrestlers. You will very rarely ever hear me put over a match like this so hard, because I was not expecting this. I know they're both great. I watched their first match. It was excellent. This was a different animal.
Different level. Yeah. This had, to me, like when watching it, the pacing was one of the main things that I noticed, as well as to your point, like everything that progressed between the first match and the second match was very, very evident. Just some cool moves in this too, that like tilt-a-whirl face breaker that Melo pulled out. But what I love, Melo's really good at this, and this is something Wesley's very good at as well. Going into the world of someone else, I feel like is such a compelling piece of what makes wrestling great. And Melo did that like a lot tonight. Like there was a lot of times where he was laying in things more violently, because Ilya was kind of drawing that out of him so much. This was great. This is one of those ones, like, just go watch it and watch it with intent, because it's like there's a lot of really, really great wrestling that happened between the ropes here. And it's I was shocked. I was shocked by the end result pleasantly. Like I love this for Ilya Dragunov. I can't think of anybody who kind of like deserves it more than that guy. I mean, my God, he's the first wrestler to hold the UK and the US world title. Not even Gunther didn't do it. Like, he's the first one to have that honor.
It is a very, very short list of people who held the UK title at all.
That is true, because monster reigns over there. Monster.
Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne, Walter, Dragunov, and then Tyler Bate again, but he didn't beat Dragunov for it. Dragunov got injured, had to relinquish. Like, that's it.
The thing is, all of those guys could have and probably should have. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's cool that they recognized it.
Yeah.
This was a work of art, and I'm gonna go back and watch it too, because like I know there's things that I'll appreciate on the second watch that I didn't get on the first watch.
I mean, okay, so Dragunov does a perfect coast to coast and doesn't look like he's expending energy when he does it. Like when you watch people do coast to coast, it's like they're stretching for it. He's like, no, this is easy for me. And then he does it again, but Carmelo says, I'm gonna counter it with a code breaker, and Dragunov's like, I'm gonna catch you while you're doing the code breaker. You can forget about it, man.
I don't know if I've seen anybody counter a coast to coast in a real way. And to your point, it looked like he had room to spare. Like, I've never seen anybody land a coast to coast without it looking like I can get to the other coast and not fall short.
The only counter to the coast to coast that I've seen that I remember seeing is Roman spearing Shane while doing it during Survivor Series.
Oh my God, that's right.
Both of them got concussed.
Yep.
No, let's try not doing that again. But that was crazy. That was crazy. Melo said ruthless aggression. This was it, says Kai. It was excellent. I don't know what to say. I mean, like, it was so good, and I loved Dragunov pulling Melo to his feet at the end, and being like, "You stand with me. We did this together." Like that was great. I love that. He had to win it via I don't love that they call it the H-bomb, honestly, because okay, listen, I don't know if he's ever going to have a match against Shinsuke Nakamura at some point, but you can't drop an H-bomb on a Japanese wrestler. You can't do it. It's not allowed. I'm putting the kibosh on it right now.
It doesn't evoke.
He had to do one from the top rope in order to actually seal Carmelo finally, because Carmelo was kicking out of everything. He could not put him away. It was great.
Ilya's face at so many points in this, like, and I loved at the end. It kind of was like, I knew I had you, but you gave me a hell of a match. Like, I love everything that Ilya Dragunov is. Just the progression from them being like, I got this in my own world, to like, how the hell is this guy still hanging in there? For both of them was like such a beautiful arc in this whole thing. It was really, really impressive. It is
one of those things of because NXT just has like this like it's gone past what NXT 2.0, which was terrible, to this weird now the hybrid blend of what it used to be and something that it could be in the front in the future. But there's all these weird little eras where certain people are able to cross paths that you just a few months here or there and they wouldn't have had, like, the how lucky we are that Melo and Dragunov were in NXT at the same time is a crazy thing when you think about all those people who got called up revolving door, and they were just like their ships passing in the night and they never really had a chance to do anything. Or one of them was way below the upper card when one guy was on the way out. Samoa Joe and Tommaso Ciampa had a match when Tommaso Ciampa was nobody, and that match lasted 4.5 minutes. Tommaso Ciampa held his own as much as he could, but it was Samoa Joe who was the champion. Like, that may go down in history as the only time those two men ever touch in a ring. It's a crazy thing the way that NXT allows those circles to like move concentrically but never quite touch, and how lucky we are that we get to see Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes here. God willing, we'll see them plenty more times up on the main roster. Sure, but it's a crazy thing in NXT that is very great. And Mark Losper says Dragunov does not miss. Have him take the belt off of Roman in 2048 in Roman's 15th title defense.
Only if he wants to.
Only if he wants to drop it to Dragunov. It's a Melo, nothing but respect to Melo. It does feel, because so many people have these year-plus long reigns,
it's kind of refreshing.
It feels like at first blush, is this a disrespect thing that he held the belt for like 5.5 months and that's it? And no, of course not, because he had great matches throughout the whole thing. But it does, when he was having that entrance where like they played voiceover of himself talking to Dragunov with all the jerseys falling.
I was like, so cool.
This feels like maybe a swan song goodbye thing. Like they used to do that in NXT back in the day. The time that the title was being passed and you were moving up, they would have this amazing retrospective entrance. And that felt like it this time. So this was excellent. This is one of those things where like you go, man, this thing might be match of the weekend, and then you remember that we have Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. tomorrow. It's one of those deals. Like there's an embarrassment of riches as wrestling fans that you can have. Something like what we saw tonight, and then something like we plan on seeing tomorrow. We get Becky and Tiffany. Did you catch this thing that had me cackling on my couch? Tiffany came out, and she was there, and she was waiting for Becky, and she put on brass knuckles. She held them up. And Becky was like, "Oh, I see your brass knuckles," and I'll leave. And she's holding them up like this. And I'm like, those are on wrong. She has them on wrong. And the referee came over and said something to her. And she's like, okay, puts him back on the right way.
I
And
did not catch that.
And I was laughing so hard. I was like, poor Tiffany. Nobody told her how to put on brass knuckles.
I didn't
Why
know
would
what
she
it was.
know how to do that?
That's
but
that's
it
very
was
funny.
so funny. But it also was part of this thing of like, this is not a match that Tiffany Stratton is used to wrestling in. We've seen Becky Lynch do a lot of Hell in a Cell, Extreme Rules, Last Woman Standing. She's done a lot of these things. She knew, by the way, to come wearing jeans and a regular shirt and a sports bra, because that's the kind of match this is. And Tiffany was wearing a pearl necklace over some really nice pinkish gear.
But I'm okay with that because she's a Barbie doll, right?
Right. No, but I thought she was going to wear the Barbie version of the hardcore gear. Like the jeans would be pink, and she'd you'd have her wrist would be taped, but it'd be pink or whatever. But I thought we were gonna get something like that. But I get the story here, and I understand that it's a plunder match, and those can be fun to watch, but they're not gonna be they're not for me. Like a hardcore match can be fun, but I'm never going to rate that on the same level as, honestly, I think their first match was better than this one because it didn't have all this extra crap in it. I think it's extra crap. I think it is a crutch when you put somebody's head inside a trash can and then do a leg drop to them. It can be fun, but it's not like real graps. Sorry. It's just not my thing,
I also prefer a traditional wrestling match to anything like this. But there was I think it was good for Tiffany Stratton to show that she'll fucking bump. Holy hell, did she take some shots in this?
Yeah, she did.
I loved the somersault into the chair thing. I don't think I'd seen that before. And then there was a lot in this that was brutal. It took a minute to get going. But once it did, it really clicked in. And I thought the finish was something else. The Swanton was great, but that on the steel chairs, the way that finish hit, that accomplished the goal of this match of there's no way this woman could kick out of this. But I think it's important to show that Barbie's a badass. I think it's good for Tiffany to have this in her match catalog. I think it's good that she did one of these just from a developmental standpoint. I thought it was a whole heck of a lot of fun. It had the main event because it's Becky and Tiffy. But I agree with you. It has nothing to do with the wrestlers even involved, but a match like Carmelo and Ilya is always going to win in my heart over a match like this, just because that's stylistically not for me. But this was still very good for what it was. It's just what it was isn't my favorite thing. But I think it's really good that Tiffany Stratton showed that she's a tough one. She's a tough cookie because we've seen what she can do acrobatically and all these things. This was great.
And I don't mean to denigrate the match at all. I think the match was really well, and I think it went really well. And I think that Tiffany is a star, a bona fide star. And if this is her call up to the main roster, I think she's going to be a star on the main roster for sure. I just think it's too early. I think they hamstrung the title reign that she had. I think that they flat out booked it like crap. And then accidentally she said Becky Lynch's name because she assumed Becky Lynch had been the NXT champion because why wouldn't she have been? And then they turned it into this, and they put the title on Becky. And now she's lost her rematch, and maybe she moves up. I don't know, but that title reign, the horribly booked matches with Thea Hale. One little quick thing versus Kiana. There was we were all waiting for it. When Mandy Rose left and Roxanne became the champion, we were all waiting for the big Roxanne Perez versus Tiffany Stratton feud. And all we got out of it was one match in the semifinal, not even the final of the tournament, to become the new champion. It just We didn't get. I don't think we got what we could have gotten from a booking standpoint.
We didn't get her and Gigi. We didn't get her and Roxanne run back. Like there's so much more that we could have gotten.
And I firmly believe that she should be a major star on the main roster. But I've seen too many incredibly talented women just sit there and do nothing on the main roster. I believe that they have.
She's raised into. Like they have to set up great programming for her.
Yeah. I don't know what their plans are with Jade, main roster NXT. I thought if she was going to like, before I get into all that, I also wasn't a fan of the fact that it ended the exact same way, which was Tiffany going for the moonsault, missing, and then Becky hits the manhandle slam, like.
Yeah, but this time it was on steel chairs, baby.
I understand, but it's the same finish.
That's fair.
Like I would have liked it to. I would have liked Tiffany to have maybe missed the thing by not landing on chairs, obviously, because you can't do it that way. But then Becky goes for the manhandle slam and she counters it into a way that allows Becky to be, okay, you're smarter now than you were a few weeks ago.
Sure.
I always want to see growth like that. And what I saw was Tiffany taking the same finish, the same. This time it was on chairs, sure. And it would be harder to kick out if you were manhandle slammed on chairs, sure. But also you allowed yourself to. Yeah. You should have it scouted. You should have it scouted. And they didn't. So Becky wins that way. And I thought for sure Jade Cargill was coming out. I thought for sure,
especially up until she didn't. Time-wise, we had like 15 minutes. And I know they end early a lot, but you were like, they have the breathing room if they want it.
Spooko, I'm pretty sure you're trolling here. I hope you are. Manifesting Nia costing Becky maybe next time. No.
Manifest that.
No. Won't do it.
Manifest it elsewhere.
And Mark says Becky drops to Jade in like 2 weeks, right? Their next one of these is a deadline on December 9th. They're going to bring back the Iron Survivor match. And so we'll see. But if they were going to debut Jade at a pape, you would think they would do it now.
The more this goes on, the more I'm like, she's just going on the main roster. Like, I don't think you announce someone on ESPN to put them in NXT.
Maybe do a fast lane thing.
Saudi Arabia.
Charlotte wins the title from Io Sky, and then Jade shows up. You can see it, can't you? Oh, it's gonna be great.
Thanks for joining us for the Sour Graps review. I'm gonna go vomit into a garbage pail now.
Yeah. Mark bringing this up. New rule: nobody should no-sell a hit from a barbed wire bat.
Counter argument: when it's that bad looking of a barbed wire bat, yes, you can, because it's a molded plastic bat.
Yeah, it was not.
But you're right.
Actually, a real bat, though.
Boy, it was not. It was very plastic.
No. But I thought that both women did well, and now we see what this reign actually is for Becky.
Well, Tegan Knox was sitting in the front, right?
Right. She has the match. She's gonna beat Tegan Knox on Monday, and then we see what happens after that. But I don't think they had a real plan when they were like, "Oh, let's put a title on Dominik," because they already had a plan for the North American title. They were already doing something, and it completely derailed everything they were doing with it. And Dominik certainly there was not a plan to put the belt on Trick until they released Mustafa Ali, because Trick wasn't anywhere near this title. He wasn't anywhere near this title until Tuesday when he was like, I better go get my gold now. And then he just does. Okay. Yes. So they don't have plans. So Becky Lynch is their champion, and they have no idea how they're taking that belt off of her at all.
No, but if there's anybody that's okay with, it's Becky.
Right. I mean, also, I don't know if Tiffany's not going up to the main roster imminently. I don't know what you do with her. Do you make her a tag team with Roxanne, James? It's like Roxanne is the perfect example of we don't know what we're doing. Yeah. We have no idea what we're doing. And so this is my answer to Caden when he says, why is NXT my favorite brand in all of wrestling? Because you must not care that they have no idea what they're doing. That's fine. You don't need to, but they have great matches. Occasionally they'll have an all-timer like they did tonight with Ilya and Melo. But the people upstairs have no idea what they're doing, as evidenced by all of the booking that they do.
I would
that
say
is the thing.
It's because you are young and you lack taste.
I think it's great that you love NXT. And I think there's certainly reasons to. If you don't watch the week-to-week stuff and you just watch the
Oh my God.
they do, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But the week-to-week stuff is sometimes utterly nonsensical.
Yes, that's
correct. If you didn't watch the week-to-week thing, you wouldn't even know why you should be mad about the stuff with Pete Dunne. And
you wouldn't even know why you
Dominik.
should be mad with us about everything.
Right. But if you don't watch the main show week to week, there's no reason why you would even know why it was a weird thing, how weird it was that Robert Stone decided to distract Braun Breaker. You would have no clue. You would be like, "Oh, that was a fun match, though." Otherwise, this is one of those things. So, I have one jukebox, and then I guess we're gonna end this thing early because there's nothing else to say.
That's good.
There's
I have a
nothing else to
headache,
do.
so we can do that.
Oh, well, we have one more thing to do. Before I sing, this got sent to me.
I hope there's something in it, because otherwise,
it's
boring,
from Sean Ross Sapp. It is the play button. It's a pay-per-view. It's a special night. I'm gonna unbox this, but I also listen. I love Sean. Everything I have, everything about fight wrestling with movies. I'm sorry, I don't have access to the document for the Humper chats. I will.
Just send it in with stars in the regular one.
Send it with stars in the regular one, and I'll read them. But I don't have access to that. Luis isn't here.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. Mark says, seeing as how you've reached the end early, do 20 minutes on Wrestle Dream, specifically Bryan Danielson versus ZSJ. I'll do 20 minutes on Toni Storm and how she's the very best thing in the world. But I won't. No, Wrestle Dream's gonna be amazing. Sean, I love Sean. Sean, this is the box that got sent to him with two things in it. Okay, I'm convinced of this. With two plaques,
play buttons.
two YouTube play buttons, one for him and one for me. And then he repackaged one of them in this and sent it to me. For Christmas, I'm going to send him some shipping tape because he taped this up with duct tape and it's just wide open.
Why don't boys know how to pack things in boxes?
Hey, don't you take your slander elsewhere, Missy.
Maybe you do, but most of y'all are bad at it.
Duct tape.
Duct tape. Woo!
This is just gonna fall out everywhere. It's like I need scissors to open up everything else I'm unboxing here on the show.
Of course.
This is just easily grab a corner and peel.
And it's something, kind of important.
It is important. Yeah. All right.
While you're doing that, I'll talk about Sheppy Zach versus Dragon Bullocks because
you talk about Sheppy Zach.
I think you should all go watch Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. from 2009, where you have blue trunks, emo haircut Zack Sabre Jr. versus young, almost buzz cutty, if I recall correctly, Bryan Danielson. And they're just these young little baby techers doing their little teching. And it's so precious. So go back and watch the 2009 one because I'm sure there's going to be callbacks to that.
Okay, here we go. Lieutenant Photo says, "You deserve it, Alex. Congratulations, man." Well, let's see if it's broken into 17 pieces. Let's see if it's broken into 17 pieces first.
Even if it's in pieces, you still deserve it. Wow, Allie getting aggressive, saying, "Open the damn thing." Well, relax, Allie. Go hang out with the Jonas brother. Ooh.
Hold on. Here we go.
Were you Team Nick or Team Joe? Let us know.
Me?
Well, yeah, you too. I was asking Allie.
No, which is the other one? I guess I was. I don't know. I don't know which. I don't
James.
know
I just made that up. I forget who's it. Kevin Jonas.
Joe Jonas. I guess I don't know.
Joe Jonas, Nick Jonas, Kevin Jonas,
Jimmy Jonas, Liam. I was more of a Liam than a Noel Jonas.
I was.
If you had to make me pick between Liam Jonas and Noel Jonas, I'm always Liam Jonas.
I always loved that Andy Jonas.
Yeah. Here we go. It says, do you remember your first subscriber, your 100th, or your 1000th? Chances are you do. We know that you'll definitely remember your 100,000th subscriber. Blah, 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 blah. Yours sincerely, Neil Mohan, YouTube CEO.
How nice of Neil. Do you remember your first original character? Do you remember the first time you said Duck Hudson on screen? Let's get personal, Neil. Okay.
That'd be funny.
Do you remember the first time that you invited this crazy blonde lady onto your show? And she showed up in funeral garb, but also wedding garb, but also a rainbow crown.
Spread out.
Woo! It looks pretty. Not under the. I love Sean's setup, but it looks like a pink play button in his case because of the pink. Oh, I see myself in it.
You can see yourself. You can fix your bangs. Not that they need fixing.
But I'll go Joe Coffey style.
There you go.
That's awesome. You do deserve it. You have been here since day one. You are a fightful
I've been meaning to get a mirror in this room, and now I have one.
Now you don't need to. Because you famously accept compliments so well.
I do.
You are fantastic at this. You will always undersell yourself, but I'm always here to be your hype man. I will be the trick to your mellow.
You will oversell me. You can oversell me, and I'll undersell me. That'll be good.
I don't need to because you're great. But if I had to, I will Shawn Michaels Hogan the sell for you. I will do it. But you don't need to because you're great at this.
Yeah.
And you deserve it. You've been with this place since day one. Side guy Jonas.
Oh, Jonas.
Mittens Jonas. Streamer guy Jonas.
Big Dick Jonas. Mark Losper says, congratulations to both of you. You've done so much to improve Fightful and its output. You'll make an awful show slightly less awful. Well, thank you so much.
That's the nicest thing anyone could say about us. We have the Humper chest that got sent in too.
Oh, good.
I think it can be said that Becky is the best women's wrestler in the world right now as of last month. False count anywhere, steel cage, NXT match with Tiff. Honestly, couldn't agree more with that. 100%.
No, she's the very best. She's the absolute very, very best.
She is.
Yeah.
And also this one that says, and this is a sour one I sent as well, that I didn't say last night. Charlotte, third wheel Flair strikes again. I mean, honestly, what is she doing to benefit the women's division these days? I can't deny that triple threat will be fantastic. It does feel like an unnecessary.
It feels like she is doing the Vince McMahon thing from a few years ago. She's coming out and going, we need Charlotte Flair. And then she walks around behind where she was pointing and goes, it's me. It just feels like she's doing that a lot.
It feels like when she got shoehorned into the WrestleMania main event. Wait, I have to find Allie's comment. It was about a Jonas.
It was about a Jonas?
Yeah, I can't find it. I see all of Allie's, but where's Emily? Was it Emily?
Yeah, I need to display this every Tuesday. It's when reviewing NXT, so HBK watches. He'll know you're better than him. What if I just did the whole thing, like made it like a little hat out of it, like a little headband thing where I just do it like this the whole time?
I'm here for it. Okay. Emily said, "I'm here to talk about the Jonas Brothers." Zack Sabre Jonas. You guys are funny.
Okay, hold on. Lieutenant Photo says you deserve it. Congratulations.
So Luis isn't here today. That's why Slow Mode is on to help out me and Alex.
Yeah.
This is disgusting. Luis is here on his own accord. He had a night off.
Yeah.
Did you watch Collision? Did you have Collision on at the same time?
I watched parts of it. I watched parts of Andrade and Juice. I watched every second of the Tony Storm thing because that's amazing. I muted and turned off the Chris Jericho match, and then I turned it back on as it was ending. I was like, of course they had him get the victory. Of course they did. Of course they had Jericho get the victory. Why wouldn't they? And then they started talking, and I muted it, and I looked back at my phone like, oh my God, they're still talking. And I was like, that was only one of them. And then it turned from Kenny to Jericho, and then he talked forever. This was like a go home promo you give at the end of the night when the cameras are off. Like, why were they talking for so long?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Did you see the rest of TMDK? Did you see Shane Hayes singing?
No, I did not see them singing. I know that they're on the pre-show tomorrow. And
Shane Hayes did a rap, and he said, "Drop the beat, Mikey Nichols." And Mikey Nichols said, "No way." And then he said, "Fine, I'll do it myself."
Good.
And then he sang a little song. I'll send it to you.
That's good.
I bet Cheeto's just in the background, like.
I also somebody sent me the DM and said Athena's finally on pay-per-view, and I was like, really? Wow. And they were like, then they sent me the picture of the match. I was like, oh, so she's not actually. She's in an 8-person mixed tag match,
which is cool, I guess.
Which is cool, but not what we were wanting.
Luis, yeah, I'll send it in our little bestie chat because it's absolutely. When they say like hysterical Shane Hayes, like no, he's actually hysterical. They're like my favorite stable in the world right now. But yeah, I feel like that match got made because I'm gonna be in the scrum room tomorrow, and I think they were like, I can't have Kate ask about this again. Just put some gals on, please.
Yeah. Yeah. MD Spooko says, Kate, you deserve your Wrestle Dream. Alex, you deserve the play button. Y'all work so damn hard to not be noticed by the wrestling universe.
Thank you so much.
Actually, I work really hard so that they won't notice me. Just back over here.
Stop. You're one of the most valuable voices we got.
Thank you.
I learned on Twitter that no boys can accept compliments, and it's not just a you thing.
No, but I'm like,
You're the first one that I've heard be like, it makes me inherently disbelieve what you said about me. Not just like, oh, I can't accept it. And be like, Alex, you must be lying. You're like, you hate me in black shirts.
You must be lying.
It's
it's so bad. It's because of doing shows and being an actor growing up, being in plays that I know were terrible, and having people come up to me and go, "That was great," and I go, "You're a liar."
You're full
so
of shit.
It became like every time anybody tells me I did something good, I'm like, "You must be lying," because every time somebody tells me the play that I was in was good, I know it's bad, and I go, "No, see, you're lying." So now I can't trust anything that you say. That's what it is. I realized that's where my psychosis comes from.
I like it. I like that it has an origin.
Kai says, reenact your first audition for theater, Alex. I don't know. That would be going back to when I was a very young child. So I don't know that I could do that. I don't know that I would know what that was, but I guess I could think of something. I'll tell you how I didn't audition for my first show, and that was by singing Wise Guys by Joe Pesci in the style of Tony D'Angelo, as requested by Matthew Plus.
Typical Matty.
It's the bitches that'll get yous. Treat all my broads like trash. You'll catch a blast if you move too fast. You don't have to ask. Getting everything by flash and cash. Fighting and stealing don't kill without feeling. So I went in the casino before they start dealing. All about respect and intellect. Only mess with the women that pick up the check. 2 supermodels, one in each arm. One chick's brunette, the other was blonde. I heard their fathers had stocks and bonds, so I effed them up and left them floating in a pond. Customary clothes from head to toe. Catch Joe at the fight sitting in the first row. Everybody follows when I'm ready to go. There's no need to show off. They already know. Lovely day in the neighborhood. It's the bitches that'll get yous. Gabagool.
Oh, tell me about it. It's always the bitches that'll get yous.
It is called the H-Bomb, named after Dan Henderson because really done by Dan Henderson, the UFC to Michael Bisping. I'll send you a link to the clip on X. Okay, well, that's great. Ilya Dragunov, none of his names start with H, so it just sounds like he's dropping a weapon of mass destruction on somebody, and he's not allowed to do it to a Japanese person. I'm calling it now.
No.
Just not. That's all.
That's correct.
Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for experiencing this thing with me.
So cool. You're so cool.
Hold on,
There's two of you. Double Alex.
Yes, and I'll do something on Fightful Select after Wrestle Dream. Kate's going to be at the Scrum, so it won't be with her. But
yeah,
we'll do something. It'll be fun. Yeah. Look forward to that, and we'll see you on Monday for Becky Lynch losing the NXT title to Tegan Knox, probably, and then Tuesday for NXT No Mercy Fallout. They're having 2 weeks of Halloween Havoc. Kate, did you hear that?
That's
the
24th
and the 31st, which means we need 2 different costumes, one for the 24th, and one for the 31st. 31st has got to be the better of the two. So now I got to go shopping.
I'm in. I might be Tony Storm.
Yeah.
Come with little curlers in my hair. All forlorn.
Please do.
Chin up. Tits up. Watch for the shoe.
Everything sucks.